Hey, while I put it back together, I just heard some very assuring words. She said to her kid, do me a favor, find out when your father's coming back. I'm afraid when I leave, this dog's gonna get out. So, let's hope that the father gets back soon. Well, finally got some snow in New York. Only a few inches, but it's nice to finally see some. It is Monday, no, it's Tuesday, January 16th, 2024, and I am headed to my first call of the day, which is fairly close to my house, so I got to sleep in a little bit today. And it's for a Lochinvar boiler maintenance. So, not sure what model they have or what type of maintenance they're looking for, but we'll see when we get there. Okay, so here is our unit. Don't see very many of them, but it is a Lochinvar. It's our model number, WHB155N. It's a fire tube, because tubes of fire heating the water. And what I'll do is be pulling this to clean the unit. Gotta do some disassembly, and it should go smoothly. But overall, looks like a very nice installation. Yeah, I don't know that these can be used, but so far everything looks pretty good. Radiant manifold. Pretty nice. Okay, so just pulled off our burner assembly and inducer from the top of our unit. Had to disconnect our fresh air pipe, our pressure tubing, and our gas valve in order to do that. And here is the inside of the heat exchanger, which is, dirty, but it's not terrible. A little bit rough, but we'll get that nice and clean. Okay, so I took all of this apart, cleaned it, vacuumed the burner, inspected the gaskets to make sure they're reusable, cleaned off the igniter and flame rod, cleaned out the inside, rinsed it off a little bit, and all that staining's not coming off, but it's nice and smooth. So I rinsed it with some water, I cleared out the condensate trap, and we should be good to start reassembly. And I do want to make the sight glass a little bit clearer if I can, because it's pretty foggy. Hey, while I put it back together, I just heard some very assuring words. She said to her kid, do me a favor, find out when your father's coming back. I'm afraid when I leave, this dog's gonna get out. So, let's hope that the father gets back soon. Okay, so I got it all reassembled, put back together, all the wiring hooked back up, pressure switch tubing. Neutralizing media, I'm not doing. The homeowner's gonna do that himself. The homeowner put all of this in himself. He's a pipe fitter. And the house burned down, so he slowly made this. And it's super, super nice. I can't believe that. Usually when you see a homeowner install, it's like a nightmare. But this is just like amazing. Okay, so I finished up with that. Everything went well. That was actually the first time that I have ever done maintenance on one of those style of Lochinvars, but I'd seen videos done on it, and I've done the Lochinvar University. And at the end of the day, all these boiler maintenances are the same once you start doing a bunch of the high efficiencies, so it went well. The homeowner is very knowledgeable. He actually does this on the side, like he does installing boilers and water heaters and things like that, and he clearly does a good job. He even owns a combustion analyzer, so it's pretty cool. He was a really nice guy. He gave me a generous tip, which is very nice. Yeah, I hope I get to work for him again. But I am headed now to Comac, which is, again, close by to my house, like this job. Except it's close by to my house on the other side of my house. So, a little bit of a drive. But unfortunately, I can't, I don't know that I'll be able to record that job. Because it is the tankless unit that I'm not allowed to show on my channel. I'm sure a lot of you know why, but it's a garbage tankless unit that's pretty much useless, built to fail. But yeah, we'll see. I probably won't be able to record, but I'll let you know what happens with that. It was nice having the snow, but now it's all turning into mush with rain. So maybe next time it'll snow and stay for a while. So I finished up with that. What he was really looking for with the tankless unit was a chemical flush, tankless flush descale. It wasn't flushed at all, and it was installed in 2015 and pulled a lot of junk out. The water was black. But he was having a noise issue. The issue wasn't duplicated. I think it was the circulator that was making the noise, but it's hard to know. It could be maybe a plug in the heat exchanger, or something blocking the heat exchanger, or even the blower. It could be the three-way. It's hard to know from a video that he took, but had a good amount going on. That's typical with these systems, so we're going to try to see what we can do for him as far as warranty, to maybe get some warranty parts, because there's a lot going on. But I'm headed now to a boiler. I believe it's an estimate. It's not exactly clear what this gentleman wants. Fire department shut the unit down, and I don't know if he wants an estimate for a replacement or an estimate to fix it, but I'll see what happens. So, and it was giving off carbon monoxide?
Yeah, we had another company come by and they said it looks like the boiler was, leaking from the inside, and the fluid was mixing with the lighter fluid. With the pilot light, sorry.
Okay, yeah, so you had water coming down into the burners. Oh yeah. Yeah. Could see the moisture back there. The burners are wet. Now you have an additional zone on this boiler.
Yeah,
that does the basement?
Yeah, there's a thermostat here.
And then a thermostat upstairs?
Yeah, in the living room.
Do you use this basement zone?
Yes.
You do?
It has a heating board.
Okay.
And this zone also goes to the heating boards that are upstairs in the kitchen.
Okay.
And then we have 5 radiators, one in the living room, one in the dining room, and one in each of the 3 bedrooms.
Okay, so that was just an estimate. We'll see what he chooses to do. We told him that we can get it done as early as Thursday. Right. The only thing is that we need to know by today, because it's Tuesday and we have to get the equipment. Yeah, there's a lot wrong with that install. The Hartford loop is too low. The close nipple on the Hartford loop is too long. The steam mains are not piped correctly. We're gonna have to see where they're losing steam, why their boiler failed so early, because it's from 2007. So that's 15, 16 years old. That's not old enough for it to have a hole in it this early. But I'm headed now to a radiant heating zone not working. It is currently 1:47. Had a good bit of driving. Had an hour-and-a-half drive to here. 30 minutes between the first 2 jobs, and now 45 minutes to my next job. So see what happens there. Okay, so I can't show the tankless units that are used here, but we've got quite the setup in this very large home. We have radiant zones intermittently working. I'm wondering if we're not making end switch. Taking a look here. So we got bedroom 1 and bedroom 2. Bedroom 3 and bedroom 4. And we know one of the bedrooms seems to not work consistently. We also have a basement zone downstairs, which seems to not work consistently. Let's see, I don't see basement anything labeled here. But I turned on a total of 3 zones, and we only have 2. And it's nice that they only labeled that one row. So I'm gonna have to do some digging to see what we got going on. Okay, so I finished up there. He had a lot more radiant manifolds than what was just there. He decided to tell me that after I'm trying to figure out what the problem is. But he had a few extra Ecobs. With testing, it just seemed to me that the Ecobee was inconsistently working in one room. And then for the 2 bedrooms, the heat works. One room is just colder than the rest. It's the only outside room on a corner of the house with 2 big windows. So he already had a lot of Ecobee sensors laying around that weren't being used. I hooked up a sensor for that room, so hopefully it can try to balance out the temperature. And we'll see what happens. He was super happy. He just built the home. He's been living in it now for 3 years, and he's been on and off dealing with different plumbers and contractors. They installed cheap equipment, but that is what it is. That's just what happens when you build a house. He said, we were just talking about, like, he's very into business. He was talking about how Mike seems like he's probably like an amazing businessman. And he took a peek at my iPad and he was like, whoa, my house is on there. How'd you get that picture of my house? And I was like, it's in the system. It tells you, shows us what your house looks like so we can find it. And he was like, wow, that's amazing. And then I went to roll up the red carpet and take my booties off when I was leaving. And he was like, I said to my wife that when somebody brings in their own carpet to wipe their feet on and then covers their shoes going through the house, you know that they're professional. So he was really appreciative. He tipped generously, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully I don't have to be back there for any issues and we're just back there for regular maintenance. But I am now heading to a no heat call customer I've been to a couple times. He's a cast iron boiler, a lot of zones, another big house. See what happens. Okay, here's our boiler, and it's very odd. Zones are calling, but I had no power to my pump. No amperage, no voltage. I traced it back, and it goes to that red and that white wire, these 2 right here. Or no, at least just this red and this white. And after I shut it off to trace it and turned it back on, we had power. So now I'm wondering why all of a sudden do we have power? And now we have circulation. That's very odd. Very odd. This switch has nothing to do with the circulator. It has to do with the power of the boiler. I don't know why we wouldn't have power all of a sudden, and then we have power. I'm thinking that it's this control, but this is a more complicated control than what we have replacements for, it seems like. Yeah, very odd. Okay, so here's that control, and if you look in here, it looks burnt. If you look here, although not used, there's 2 burnt, like, capacitor type things on there. So we got 3 burn marks. I think that it's going to be a bad controller, but this is a zone valve control. So I'm leaning towards replacing it with the same or similar control. I don't have a zone valve control. I have a zone panel, but it's for circulating pumps, not for this application. So I think we're gonna have to get him a board, a replacement. Yeah, so we're gonna order that Argo control, hopefully get it in. It'll be next day from Supply House. Yeah, there's no reason to dig any further if with what was going on. He had all his thermostats calling, only 3 zone valves were open initially, and the zone pump wasn't getting power. After I had turned it off, try to find the issue, found that burning, which is what controls the zone pumps and the zone pump and the zone valves. And that's a given that's what's causing it. Probably got some other little fried connections in the board that you just can't see. And then once I power cycled it, all those zone valves magically opened and that thermostat turned on. So it's inconsistent. I'm glad that it did turn on because for the moment he has heat, but he paid a deposit, so we're gonna put the part in. He's very happy using us because we're always in and out and problem solved. He said he has no complaints about our company, which is nice. He's not like the best English speaker. I think he's Russian or something like that. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it for the day. Yeah, so I just texted Mike and I spoke with my brother Peter, who now runs the office, to see if anything came in. And Mike said if anything comes in tonight, he'll take it because he'll be home shortly from Florida. So hopefully you enjoyed watching the video. Leave advice, criticisms, feedback in the comment section, particularly about like maybe what you'd like to see me do versus what I'm currently doing. You could see I stopped recording a lot of what I'm doing on jobs, and I mentioned it in yesterday's video just because I'm trying to get the jobs done and it slows it down, and then the customer has to pay for additional time, and I don't want to do that to them. But yeah, the steam boiler, I just called that gentleman back to follow up, and he said he's going to go with the cheaper bidder. So he'll probably call us once the system doesn't work because we didn't install it. And then the job from yesterday, I just called her back with the major wet return leaking issue. They're waiting on their insurance to get back to them because they want to see if their insurance will cover it or give them any money towards it. So maybe we'll hear back from them tomorrow because that's a big job. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed watching. Like the video if you liked it, and subscribe. Thanks.